What's going on, guys? Welcome aboard. What we're doing is flying to we're flying to Hawaii, and yeah, you can see Hawaii off to the side there, and you can see that we're getting requests to turn left to 210. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And the reason for that is because this was a 6-hour flight, and I ran it last night overnight, and I had presumed a star, STAR, standard terminal arrival. And it was the wrong one, or it wasn't the one that PRO-ATC chooses a star for you based on your flight plan. So flight plan information, if you go into this is the PRO-ATC menu. You can see that we're supposed to be on an arrival called Cana 2, but I'm not on the Cana 2. As you can see, I am on what is called the Maggie 3. So I need to go in here and change this to the Cana 2 with the dense transition.
Turn left, heading 200.
And in the meantime, I need to comply with these ATC heading requests. So I put it over to heading mode for now, and I don't know if he wanted me to start descending yet, but this is what we have to deal with right now. So one thing I am going to do is I'm going to reposition this over here because I am tired of the speed brake being in the way. So that is now my Shift 3 view. And I'm expecting ILS 8 left. So basically, yeah, just pick that, and I can come up here and take a look at that really quickly here. ILS 8 left, bam, I'll sneak that in before there. So I'm going to be coming in from the north, I believe. I'm going to be ending at the Makoa intersection per the Cana 2 arrival, as you can see here. We are somewhere in this general area where this 140 is. We're past Dens. We're kind of heading up here. So we're going to be turning down here to this Danya intersection instead and coming into this Makoa. Now, there is no Makoa intersection on the this approach, so we're probably going to want to do the Selleck transition. So let me take a look at where that puts us. I know this is all really, really fast right now, but I need to make sure that I get it correctly here. So we'll go ahead and select that, and then really, really, really quickly here, go over to plan mode and zoom out and take a look at what we got. We got to go to the legs page here, and then hit step, 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 step. And you see Makoa goes to Selleck. So we don't want the Selleck intersection. We want to get SIGEP or FEG2. Now I don't see these in here for some reason. I see Makoa is an option in the approach. Cana, Rabs, Makoa, Selleck. And then on the next page is Makoa again. So I don't think that's what we want. We want to go from Makoa to FEG2 directly. So we want to grab FEG2. Why don't I see FEG2 on here? We picked runway 8 left, right? Yeah, and we're on localizer runway 8 left. Oh, maybe that's why. I picked the wrong one. ILS runway 8 left. There we go. So I want ILS runway 8 left, and that
Alaska,
is
845, climb to flight level 350.
Basically, Makoa is the intersection we want. So grab Makoa, clear the message out, and then go here, and then click Makoa. There we go. So now we're getting requested 240. So let's go ahead and go down 240 now. And then in order to do that, you have to hit this altitude intervene button, and that'll get us descending on the VNAV. So let's go back to map view here and figure out what the hell happened. We need to pull out here and basically get direct to the next next waypoint. We're right over Dania now, so what I'm going to do is grab Dania and put it up here and hit exec. And then I'm going to go Hanapi and go exec and then hit LNAV right away. That'll put us back on the arrival. So now it's giving me a whole bunch of messages about drag required, and that has to do with the descent path basically. What I want to do here is click the descent button and then make sure that everything looks good here, and basically it does. So I don't know why it's not descending, because it told me I wanted to go down to 240. So I'm on altitude intervene. I think it is
Southwest 819er.
got something to do with this.
255. Descend to flight level 240.
So I got the 255.
Descend to flight level 240.
So I'm basically on the thing now, and it's telling me to descend. So for some reason it's not descending. Maybe if I hit descent, see, it doesn't have anything in here. The Cana arrival doesn't have any altitude restrictions.
270 American.
So I'm gonna go ahead and call this. Just go ahead and go in here on the vertical speed mode and get us going down here. And all of that was done relatively well. Kind of made a. Let me go back to my video page here, see if anyone's in chat. Welcome, if anyone's here, thanks for joining. We're arriving in Hawaii, and we have fixed the issue with the arrival. So we should be good here. We don't have a top of descent forecasted. Let me hit VNAV again. There we go. See, now we have a descent profile. So it's going to go ahead and catch up to that descent profile. Hopefully not too aggressively here, so I don't have to try on the seatbelts quite yet. So now that we've got some breathing room here and we've adjusted our arrival, here's the Cana 2 arrival. We are somewhere in this area now, going from Dana to Happy. We're going to kind of peel around here, Neil, Cana, Rabs, Makoa. And hopefully the winds are still appropriate for that. So as of 22:23 Zulu, the winds are 040 at 12, gusting 21. So with that in mind, there is the potential that it might switch us to runway 4, but that is not an issue with us. We can do the 4s or the 8. Let me pull the airport chart over here. This is an interesting airport chart because you got the 2 runways that kind of run this way that are a little bit shorter, and we're a small, we're a 737, so we can handle these short runways. But right now we're slated to arrive 8 left, which is the most convenient option for us. We could do a nice, easy auto brakes 1 on this landing and do moderate thrust reverse up to taxiway hotel, and then just come in here. We could even probably get off it, if we're really good, we can get off here. We're gonna have PRO-ATC X tell us what gate to go to, and then hopefully I'll be able to figure out what gate that is using the terminal map. I fly PHNL. So I will set that up while we are still approaching here. And here we go, Honolulu arrival. So, still descending, everything's looking good. Again, we're expecting runway 8 left. Here's the ILS on that. You can see Makoa transition, which ends on the arrival for this approach, is on there. So you use Makoa as the transition. So that was a my bad on that situation. So, Makoa arrival, and that is 33,300. On the approach, it's between 30,700 to 3,400 with a top speed of 210 knots. So, little different. So I believe it has something to do with our cost index, but we are descending at 250 knots, and I think that has to do with the cost index. So that's something we're dealing with. I believe this is, reset my track IR here, I believe this is Honolulu over here. This is Oahu Island, and the big island is back there. So I don't know my Hawaii geography that well, but I believe that's where we're headed. I'll turn track IR back off here. Get us a nice, good view of how we're coming in here. Start seeing that curve that I showed on the arrival here. And again, we are above the descent profile, so we got to start getting down here. We should be okay though. Let me go ahead and get a little bit of speed brakes out here to kind of help us a little bit down. And as we get closer to the Hanapi intersection, that's when I'll go ahead and pull the seatbelt signs. So we get a little external view of the plane here. You can see the speed brake. Well, you can't really see the speed brakes are up that much. They're up a little bit, just enough to get us a little bit slowing down. And yeah, it's the older Southwest livery, but that's what we have available. The weather just updated. No major speed issue. Let's look at the flight plan and see if it switched to runway on us. It did not, so we're still on 08 left.
819er, descend 15,000, QNH 1017.
Descend 15,000, QNH 1017, Southwest.
So, interestingly enough, I don't know if this is accurate geographically, but Hawaii is saying QNH. So we'll go ahead and hit this knob right here. Get a closer view of that. That's this knob right here. So it goes to the hectopascals, and then we're in 1017 when we get down. So we are catching up to the descent profile. So I'll go ahead and retract the speed brake there, and that should look good. See, now we're VNAV path captured essentially. And VNAV path, it's really only super important if you are really strict about trusting the FMS's calculated descent profile. And you know, half the time it's going to flash up warnings that say unachievable, cannot do, unable, and that all assumes no use of the speed brake, and it also assumes you know, the cost index you picked. So if you picked a really low cost index, it's going to want to fly at a really low speed because that's what the cost index does. It picks a really low descent speed. And if the air is especially thermal, like there's a lot of I guess upward motion in the air because of the weather, you're going to get updraft, and that updraft is going to affect the calculation of the descent profile. So that's why you get flight path angle too steep or drag required or those kind of messages, because when these airlines pick super low cost indices, the FMS freaks out when it has weather that's updraft. So it's not really common over the ocean though, so that's why we're not really having too much of a problem with it right now. And of course, you know, it all depends on how realistic Flight Simulator is too, but right now it's looking pretty good. There comes a point where, you know, the ability of the simulator to generate the virtual world almost is outdone by the aircraft's ability to be realistic. It's expecting so much from the virtual world that it starts judging the world's accuracy because of how realistic it is. So that's kind of, I would imagine that's an interesting conundrum that payware aircraft developers come under, is, you know, they develop these to be as realistic as possible to the real world, but they have the limitations of the virtual world that the flight sim actually uses to contend with. Anyway, just some musings we got going on here. We're at 22,000 feet, so I'm going to go ahead and flip on the fasten seatbelt sign. And another thing I can note out is that this was a long haul flight for the 37, so I actually did need to use the center tanks, and of course by going to bed and letting the plane fly, you come back with all sorts of like low pressure lights here because the center tanks do completely drain. I'm going to go ahead and do a descent checklist with PRO-ATC here. We already have our landing altitude correctly programmed, so no issue there. So that we'll go to the checklist menu and do a descent checklist. Let's take a look at the weather once again because it's going to ask about that. So we're 040 at 12, gusting 21, 10 mile visibility, few clouds at 2,500, scattered 5,000, temperature 29, altimeter dew point 18, altimeter 3003. Which of course is going to be QNH if PRO-ATC says it's going to be QNH. So that is a weather briefing.
Descent checklist. Passenger signs?
Passenger signs are on.
On as required. Landing altitude?
Set.
Arrival procedure?
So we are on the Cana 2.
Completed. Recall?
And we have nothing on the recall.
Checked. Auto brakes?
Auto brakes, we can go ahead and set auto brakes 1. We're going to have a nice long rollout.
Set for landing. Speed?
Speed is basically going to be per the descent profile, and we're good there.
Set for approach. Checklist completed.
Oh, we need to do, no, that's what it meant, speeds. So speeds. So in speeds, you have to go to init ref and
contact
basically pick flaps 30.
119er. Decimal 9er. Go fast. 819er.
And then 147.
Honolulu. Go fast. 819er. Passing flight level 200 for 15,000.
Southwest 819er identified. Continue via the arrival route.
Continue via Baby and Baby. Go fast. 819er.
So if you want to be super accurate, you can go ahead and take 600 pounds off of this. So you can say 140.9 instead. 140.9. Oops. 0.9 and plop that there. And then that'll give you more refined numbers. So our final approach speed is going to be 152 because you add 5 to VREF, and that's your approach speed. So a little high, a little interesting, but we are very heavy.
819er, descend 12,000, QNH 1017.
Descend 12,000, QNH 1017, go fast.
So we are coming up to 18,000 feet, so we can go ahead and go off standard mode and go to 1017. And that'll, of course, adjust the descent rate because we changed the altimeter. Was I going to brief anything else? I think that's it for now. We can go to zoom this in a little bit here. We got the green dot coming up. That's when we can basically tell the airplane that it's going to be into approach mode. We go ahead and set the ILS frequencies in. The ILS frequency is 111.7. Go ahead and use my handy dandy whatever this thing is called, SAGTEC radio panel, and go 111.7. And I don't know why, but for some reason it doesn't click very well. And I can do nav 2 too. I had an issue with that ever since I installed X-Plane. Like, it won't click one notch per thing. You have to spin it like crazy. So this is Oahu. You can see Pearl Harbor right there. That's what we're doing. We're going to swing kind of around the island and come on in. And for those who don't know, yeah, Southwest does not fly to Hawaii. They plan to, but they do not plan to out of LAX. They only plan to out of San Diego and I believe San Francisco and maybe Oakland and maybe one or two others, Monterey maybe, but they are not going to fly to LAX, sad face. So that is that. We're below transition altitude, so that's set there. Yeah, we'll just go by the checklist at this point. No, nothing else to really worry about.
Descend to 7,000.
Descend to 7,000. Go fast. 819er.
So So we got cleared down to 7,000. One thing we can do with that is we have you can see it on here, we have a hard altitude constraint of 7,000 or above at Cana, and you can see the banana is like right on that. So we're on the perfect descent profile right now. I love talking about the banana. The banana is like my favorite thing to talk about in airplanes. All the banana is you have an altitude set here, right? And of course you're not at that altitude, you're like on your way to that altitude. And then this is a map, a vertical top-down map of where you are. The banana tells you that when you get to this altitude here, your plane will be where the banana is. So that's all that means. And it's a banana because, of course, you're not going to be flying. You may not necessarily be straight in front of you. You could be turning. So it's kind of like a little radar. You can extend the line out as far as you want. But it's really only accurate, I guess, within this span, because if you start turning, of course, you'll change your descent rate. I do have a special cloud pack installed on this. I have some old Rex software, like Rex 3, cloud textures, and I'm using a weather engine called FSReal WX Pro, and I have it unregistered. So I guess this is supposed to be freeware, so I don't know what the deal is with it saying that I have to register it. It's supposed to be free, but who knows. So we reached Hanapi.
Southwest 819er, descend to 7,000. Contact Honolulu, approach on 118.32.
Descend to 7,118.32. Southwest 819er. Approach Southwest 819er, passing 13,000 for 7,000.
Southwest 819er, clear to be at transition. DENS level, spec KAENA2, spec ILS, approach runway 08 left.
Cleared by transition DEN, spec KAEN, ILS, approach runway 08 left. Southwest 819er.
So they're still kind of ironing a lot of bugs out with PRO-ATC. It's an in-development thing where it's just a lot of people kind of mashed together working on it, and it's a really beautiful product. The only thing is it'll kind of feed you messages that are just off the wall out there with, like, you know, that was supposed to be just a reminder that you're on the Cana 2 arrival, and it's really redundant information. And it's like, yeah, we're already past the transition. We passed that, you know, half hour ago. But, yeah, just one of the little nuances. Again, just like how you probably don't use QNH at, you know, in Hawaii. It's still probably, you know, inches of mercury, which is the U.S. system. So it looks like we're already going to be below 10,000 feet, or below 250 knots at 10,000 feet, so we're all good there. It's interesting that it's not really holding very well at that speed. I guess it might be preemanating, or, you know, preparing for the slowdown. And of course those slowdowns are indicated by green dots. You have the decel right here, but you don't need to go by that. You can come in here and say we want to be at, you know, 220 at Neil. We can come in here like this and go 220 slash and plop that right there. And then if we want to be at like 210 at Cana, we can do that. And then if we want to be at 200 at Rabs, we can do that. And if we want to be, you know, at 150 at Rakoa, we can do that. I feel like that's going to be kind of a steep loss in speed here. So we're going to change this Rabs to 170. And then we can change this Cana to 190. That's probably pretty good. So we'll go ahead and exec that. And then that should start slowing us down. Yep, there we go.
Southwest 819er, Ascend and maintain 7,000, clear to be at KAENA2, level, expect ILS, approach, runway 08 left.
Descend to 7,000, clear KAENA2, ILS, approach, runway 08 left.
So we're going to go ahead and we can plop on the landing lights now and the runway turn-off lights because we're below 10,000 feet. And KAENA is a 7,000 or above, so even though we did lose a little bit of distance there, we don't really have to worry about that sort of thing. But as you can see, the speed adjusted because of the numbers that we put in the FMS. The speed goes off of those numbers when you have the VNAV on, or of course you could manually switch to speed mode and adjust it here. A lot of people prefer that, but just demonstrating what you can do. Makoa has a top speed of 210, but I have it at 150. Just, you know, we get a nice long gradual approach in here to plenty of time to think about the landing. Let's turn track IR on here a little bit, show us the beautiful island of Oahu off the left. And we're going to swing around here, pass over a couple military bases, and then the airport will be just on the other side of this hill here. There's the bottom of Pearl Harbor. You can kind of see the airport starting to peek through there. Anyone on chat? No one's on chat. No one's on chat. What is this? Oh, I don't have the course. Okay, so it's
Southwest 819, ascend and maintain 4,800.
Descend to 4,800, go west.
So we got the 4,800 descent because we're just now passing Daina or Kaina, and so it's taking us to Rabs. Rabs has a 4,000 even, so that's interesting. I'm gonna put the throttle at about 50%. I have the setting on that shows you where it is. No airplane actually has this in real life because, of course, the Boeing has servos that actually physically move the throttle. But this is kind of like the thing that the IXEG has on the X-plane, where it kind of shows you where the throttle is positioned. You can line it up. It just shows it on the, you know, MCP instead of this, you know, pop-up display. So a little more natural, I think, to have it that way. So we do need to set 079 in the course. So that is why we have an issue. So I don't think, sorry for the track IR-ness, I don't think we can do that on my SciTech radio panel. We have to do that manually. So that's 079, 079 on both courses. You don't really have to do it on that one, but I did it. So there you go. See, now it's not giving me the little yellow indicator that something's wrong. So yeah, 210 knots. We can go ahead and get, we'll get flaps 5 out there as we start to approach this decel here, and that'll allow us to use the flaps as as basically air brakes to not require us to change our rate of descent. I'll do a nice little external view here. Clouds over Hawaii, always fun. Oh yeah, I'm going to tilt my head to show where we're going. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and extend the flaps in this view, so that's 1, 2, 5, and you should start seeing the flaps come out. Yeah, you can see them moving very slowly, but they're moving. Yeah, see how it's not lined up with the top of the wing anymore, and this is kind of sticking out. That's flaps 5. See, they're moving. There's flaps 5. And then, of course, the leading edge flaps are out. There's leading edge flaps, leading edge flap. Cool. And the speed should have kicked up a little bit to kind of compensate for that. And yeah, we're heading on down to 170 now. So, here is the glide slope. And we do not yet have a localizer. We go ahead and zoom in a little more. We did get a descend via, but he did say 4,800, so the 4,800 takes precedence over that. Alright, and then as we hit RABs... No. As we hit RABs, we still need to wait until we get to Makoa.
Southwest 81 Ascend maintain 3,300, cleared ILS, approach runway 08 left.
Descend to 3,300, cleared ILS, approach, runway 08 left. Go west.
And there's the runway. So we're clear for the approach. Down to 3,300, we'll go ahead and switch to this view here, and that, yeah, that is correct.
Present altitude 1.
So we're making the turn now, and with that, we can go ahead and hit.
Maintain present altitude.
Present altitude 10775 FA.
There's the localizer. Go ahead and hit approach arm. And as soon as he's captured, we go ahead with gear down and flaps 15.
Southwest 819, cleared final approach tower at the marker. Frequency is 118.1.
Cleared for final tower at the marker 118.1. Go west 819er.
So this is a tower at the marker, so I went ahead and turned on the marker so we can hear it. Still waiting for capture. Flight attendant seats for landing.
283, ascend maintain 16,000.
Descending to 16,000. American 283.
Maintain present altitude. Present altitude 1.
Lining up here. So these white diamonds are the ILS and localizer based on the actual ground-based radios, while the purple lines right now are based on, of course, the FMS.
10775 FA.
You know, the onboard computers and the GPS. We are captured on VR localizer, still waiting for glide slope. Unable. Glide slope captured, gear down, flaps 15. So gear is coming down, and flaps going to 15. And final approach speed. Oops, that's too loud. Final approach speed is by putting the top of the purple diamond right on top of the ref, and that's 5 knots. That's how you can tell it's 5 knots. We are getting some kind of an alert. I'm not sure what this alert is, because the gear is out. As far as I know, the gear is out. Let's arm the speed brake.
Clear to land, runway 08 left.
Reducing the final approach speed. QNH 1017, cleared to land, runway 08
Yeah, gear is
left.
out. I'm
Go
not sure what
west,
it's
819er.
yelling at me right now. Alright, the yelling has ceased. It may have something to do with wind shear or something. I'm not sure what's going on here. Had a weather update that just happened there. That was kind of scary. Yeah, we're coming in really slowly here. Alright, let's go ahead and get flaps
Tower,
30.
American 692. On final, runway 04 right.
American 692, clear to land, runway 04 right.
Again,
QNH
I don't
1017.
know
Clear to
why
land, runway
this is
04
yelling at
right.
me.
QNH 1017,
The gear is
American
down.
692.
Speed brakes are armed. What is it yelling at me for? Disconnect the autopilot. So autopilot we can disconnect, or manual approach. There's the marker. I hate the chevron. The crosshair is so much better. There's a way to change that, I'm just not sure how. I think it's down here in the settings, the PMDG setup. I'm going to change my orientation here. Yeah, we are getting a stiff crosswind from the left as expected from the weather. I'm going to continue the landing. I don't know what this alarm is all about, but I am going to continue the landing. Let me reset the gear here, see if that was what the problem was. Three green. Watch the glide slope. Alright, landing checklist.
Landing checklist, please.
Landing checklist, runway turn-off lights.
On.
Engine start switches.
Oh, continuous.
Content on.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Gear down.
Flaps.
Set for landing.
Autopilot.
As required.
Landing checklist completed.
Auto throttle off. And I'm off the runway here. There we go.
Tower, American 283. On final, request landing runway 04 right.
American 283, clear to land runway 04 right, QNH 1017.
Clear to land runway 04 right, QNH 1017. American 283.
Power off. Oh man, we floated. We're fine. We're fine. Down. Reverse thrust.
Southwest 819er, 8 left, contact ground on 121
80 knots.
9er.
121. Decimal 9er. Southwest. 819er.
70 knots. 60 knots.
And is that hotel?
Manual brake.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah, 18 knots. Perfect on that. Go ahead and sneak on off to the left here. And really kind of slow it down. That was a really floaty landing, but hey, we got the plane down. Okay, coming off the runway, flaps coming up. Flaps are up. Speed brake, retract. Auto brakes off. Landing lights off. Runway turn-off lights off. Taxi lights on. APU start. Engine start switches off. Position standby. Request taxi
Ground
to parking.
Southwest 819er is clear of the runway. Request taxi to parking.
Southwest 819er, taxi via Alpha to Terminal 1, Gate 32.
Via Alpha to Terminal 1, Gate 32. Southwest 819er.
Gate 32. So we need to look at PHNL here.
Your only indication that it's safe to get up and move about the cabin. We also ask that you keep the house clear of any carry-on baggage. This is the termination of our flight this morning, so we ask that you check your deck pockets, closets,
Route
and
Yep,
overhead
32
bins.
is going to be
Clear to the runway. Request taxi to parking.
American 283, taxi via Delta to gate 17.
Via Delta to gate 17. American 283.
BWA concourse, I believe. 32, yeah, okay, 32's over there. Got it. Wow, we got to get around that big-ass plane. Okay, I see where we got to go here. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. So let's go ahead and get the after-landing checklist going here.
After landing checklist, please.
After landing checklist, runway turn-off lights,
Are off.
strobe lights,
Off.
taxi lights,
On.
engine start switches,
Normal lights off.
flaps,
All up.
speed brake,
Down.
Off.
auto brakes,
Off.
APU, checklist completed.
And APU's firing up. And then let's go ahead and get ground crew notified that we're coming into gate 32 here. Next page. Gate 32. No. And Hawaiian Airlines, because there's no Southwest. So again, 32 is going to be probably right next to this plane here. So yeah, I had no idea what gate they were going to put me at, so I had to kind of just assume they were going to put me at the far end, but they didn't do that, so this has been a really good flight, except for that kind of floated landing there. This has been exceptional. Did really good at this, so. I guess it's complaining that our landing altitude wasn't accurate, but 50 feet, we're at 20, I picked 100, or 0, I picked 0. So we can go ahead and switch to the APU generators now. We have no planes moving in front of us, we can turn off the taxi light. Take a look at us on the ground. Yeah, we're going right here. See all the baggage carts? That's how you know we're heading to the right spot. Kind of going a little fast here. So not this one, but the next one. Yes.
Alaska 8905 is clear the runway. Request taxi to parking.
Alaska 8905, taxi via Delta to gate 15.
Bar Delta to gate 15. Alaska 8905.
There's our marshaller. Alright, shutdown checklist.
Shutdown checklist, please.
Shutdown checklist, parking brake,
Should have little numbers popping up.
Parking brake.
I don't see those numbers yet. We're going. There we go. Alright, slow
parking
down.
brake, parking brake,
Cool, dual gate. Nice.
parking brake, parking brake,
Perfect. Parking brake is set.
passenger signs,
Passenger signs. Off.
APU generators,
Running.
engine start levers,
And cut them off.
Cut off.
anti-collision lights,
I don't know what that beeping noise is. It should be the marker, but anti-collision light off.
anti-collision lights,
Your bumps. All except APU off.
probe
Pro-Pete, we can go ahead and turn track IR off. We'll hit Control J to get that jetway moving. Come up here and turn off the Pro-Petes.
Off. Papers.
And our final flight time was 5 hours and 46 minutes, I believe.
Filed. Shutdown checklist completed.
Filed. I'm still getting this beeping. I don't know why. Oh, is that why? No. I shouldn't be getting a beeping. Alright, external view check. We don't have a jetway here? Oh, okay. The jetways don't apparently work. Oh yeah, they do.
Grant United 1224 is clearance of
Request
runway
boarding.
request exit to parking
United 1224. Taxi via Delta to Gate 11.
via Delta to Gate 11. United 1224.
And we go ahead and get the cargo door open here. So that's FS Actions doors. Cargo open. And then we can return ground connections, wheel chock set, ground power connected, and return. And go back to doors. And open left entry forward. And then we can turn off the hydraulics. Electric hydraulic pumps are off. We can turn off the parking brake. We can turn on ground power, we can verify ground power connected, and then we can turn off the APU and the fuel pumps and then do the shutdown checklist.
Ground crew. Set. Ground power. On. APU. Off. Parking brake. Off. Electric hydraulic pumps. Off. Window heat.
And window heat.
Off. Yaw damper. Off. Position lights. Off.
And then position lights we'll just leave as is. We're good. That is a wrap. Are we deboarding? I don't hear the good job, gentlemen. I don't hear the voices saying that we deboarded, but that does it. We can watch the bags come off here for a little while. That's always fun. But that's going to do it for me. Thanks you guys for watching. And I'll leave the stream running for a little bit here. I'm going to take care of a couple things around the house and come back in and shut it down in a few minutes. Take care. Oops.